From famous actors being homeless on the street, to the founder of the iPhone not being able to afford food, we take a look at 10 homeless people who became rich and famous. Number 10. Jim Morrison. There are so many stories and rumors about the legendary frontman of The Doors that we can't be sure where the truth begins and ends. However, some things about one of the greatest poets and rock stars in music history are undoubtedly true, such as him being homeless when he was still struggling with his music and writing career. Most of his fans will tell you how Jim lived during his short but great career in a cheap hotel on La Cienega Boulevard in Los Angeles. But not many know that before Morrison made it big, he used to be homeless and slept in just about any place you can literally imagine. Rumor has it that he even spent quite a few nights under the pier at Venice Beach. Number 9. Halle Berry. You may consider the first and only African-American woman to win an Academy Award for Best Actress in a leading role as being synonymous with fame, influence, wealth, and sex appeal. Nevertheless, for Halle Berry, life hasn't always been easy. 2 failed marriages, a few bad relationships, and a suicide attempt might sound bad enough. But Halle spent some time being homeless at the beginning of her acting career as well. However, Halle confessed during an interview with Reader's Digest that this experience made her stronger and taught her how to live through any situation, even if it meant she had to spend a few nights in a public shelter. Number 8. Dr. Phil. When Phil McGraw, or Dr. Phil, was 12 years old, he was homeless and living in a car in Kansas City with his father, who was interning as a psychologist. McGraw later went on to obtaining his own bachelor's, master's, and PhD, and he joined his father's psychology practice in Texas. In the 1990s, Oprah Winfrey invited McGraw to appear on her show. As you probably know, he later became a regular on Oprah and eventually launched his own syndicated advice program. Today, the author and TV personality is worth an estimated $280 million. Number 7. Sylvester Stallone. There's no doubt that the earnings from only one of the many Rocky and Rambo films alone would be enough for any of us everyday people to have a great life without having to work for the rest of our lives. But for Stallone's delicate and expensive taste, one film could never be enough. Against all odds, Sly managed to become one of the most commercially successful action movie stars of all time and a pop icon of our era, despite the fact that as a young man, he had to spend about 3 weeks sleeping at the Port Authority bus station. It was then that he came across an ad for an adult film that was paying about $100 a day, and the rest is history. Number 6. Steve Jobs. What comes to mind first when you hear the name Steve Jobs? I'm not a gambling man, but I would probably guess money. Money, and more money, right? What if we told you that co-founder, former chairman, and CEO of Apple Incorporated was once broke and homeless? According to his own claims, the father of the iPhone didn't have a dorm room as a student and had to sleep on the floor in friends' rooms. He also returned Coke bottles for the nickel deposits to buy food, while he would walk 7 miles across town every Sunday night to get one good meal a week at the Hare Krishna temple. Number 5. Jennifer Lopez. W Magazine reported that Jennifer Lopez moved out when she was 18. Lopez wanted to be a dancer, and her mother wanted her to go to college, and they couldn't see eye to eye. So she moved out and started sleeping on the sofa of her dance studio. Lopez told W that a few months later, she landed a job dancing in Europe, and when she got back, she booked In Living Color and became a fly girl, which proved to be her big break. Today, the 45-year-old singer, actress, producer, and designer is worth an estimated $300 million. Number 4. Drew Carey. Carey grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, where his father died when he was just 8 years old. According to the Kirkland Reporter, Carey told audience members at a 2010 benefit for the Friends of Youth organization that he was on his way from Ohio to California to see his brother when he ended up homeless in Las Vegas. He would sell plasma for $40 and look for spare change to buy boxed mac and cheese. The actor, comedian, game show host, and philanthropist is now worth an estimated $165 million. Number 3. David Letterman. According to Forbes, David Letterman is one of the richest and most influential television hosts and comedians in America and makes an estimated $50 million each year from his late-night television talk show alone. However, if you think that Letterman always had it good, then you're sorely mistaken. He had it pretty hard, and almost 40 years ago, when the media guru was landing in Los Angeles, He used his 1973 Chevy pickup as his home. We don't even want to imagine what he had to go through for several months before he finally got his break and started writing jokes for Jimmy Walker, which was the stepping stone to the incredible career that followed. Number 2. Chris Gardner. Aside from a movie based on his life starring Will Smith, Gardner also has 2 New York Times best-selling books under his belt. His autobiography, The Pursuit of Happiness, and Start Where You Are, Life Lessons in Getting From Where You Are to... But before his story was shared with the world, Gardner was living on the streets with his young son. At the time, he was trying to pursue a career in finance despite not having any experience in it, or even a college degree. He received a spot on the Dean Witter Reynolds training program, but couldn't afford to live off the small salary, and his wife eventually left. According to his website, Gardner's childhood was marked by poverty, domestic violence, alcoholism, sexual abuse, and family illiteracy. Number 1. Colonel Sanders. Mr. Kentucky Fried Chicken is without a doubt one of the most recognizable and rich food businessmen in history. But before that, he used to be filthy poor and homeless. His father died when he was only 5, and his mother quickly remarried. When he was 10, the Colonel decided to leave his house because he couldn't take his stepfather's constant beatings and abuse. He remained homeless for a really long time and did many jobs in his life until he came up with his own secret recipe and became the father of KFC. He didn't even have his own house until he was 40 years old.